Recording in progress. Right. Welcome everyone again to class this morning. And today we'll be talking about investing in ETFs, commodities, and REITs. What is ETF? The full meaning of ETF is Exchange Traded Fund. And you will see this basket on your screen. It's a fund manager creating this basket to receive funds from different people. That fund would now be invested into different asset classes that these individuals wouldn't have been able to invest into if they were going one by one. So it's a pool of funds, just like mutual funds. ETF is also a pool of funds that collects money from different investors and then invest into different asset classes. And that fund is now managed by the funds manager to maximize returns for investors in that bucket. ETF can invest into equities, it can invest into commodities, it can invest into fixed income instruments or any other categories of investment. ETF can also invest into real estate. So think about it. For some of you that have probably bought S&P 500, S&P 500 is a global ETF that invests into 500 companies of the world. And it's an index fund. So what's an index fund? An index fund is similar to ETF, but it is programmed, it is computer managed. So what do I mean by that? The stock or that fund tracks the performance of all the companies within that ETF bucket. So let's say that S&P 500 invests into top 500 companies in the world, into their stocks. And the fund manager would have set parameters for each of those stocks. So if it goes below a particular threshold, the computer automatically pushes out that company and replaces it with another company, which is why when you look at it historically, S&P 500 over the long term tends to perform well because it's actively managed and this computer programming goes on behind the scenes. So, like I said, ETF can invest into several asset classes. It can invest into properties, it can invest to cash, it can do cash investment, it can do funds investments, it can do retirement, it can do all sorts of investment. So these are some ETFs in Nigeria. If you are in Nigeria currently and you want to invest in ETF, these are some options for you. Stanbic 30, it's owned by Stanbic Group and it invests into 30 companies in Nigeria, 30 banks in Nigeria, into the stocks of 30 banks in Nigeria. So I can either buy stocks of different banks myself and start to manage. I can invest in equity fund that invest into shares of this company. And I can also choose to buy an ETF that invests into those companies. So these are the various investment routes that you have to just spice up and ensure that your portfolio is well diversified. You've had cases where people say that I invested 2 million 10 years ago into stocks, and now that 2 million is worth nothing. A lot of times, it's always a gap, a knowledge gap that people lack. It is not so much about the market, it's about the knowledge gap. So what do I mean by that? You're supposed to do your portfolio evaluation on a yearly basis or on a quarterly basis. See what is not happening, see the ones that is going well, see the one that is not going well, move your funds around. Sometimes, especially when you're investing into stocks, my advice is always at the end of the year, you should think about it and say, should I put my money in this stock? Should I put it to another bucket? Or what should I do? You should always ask yourself those questions so that you are not just investing and your money is just static and is depreciating and you're not doing anything about it. So these are the ETFs that you can think about if you want to invest in ETF. And for some people that would rather do an Islamic related investment that doesn't, because in Islam, the concept of interest is not allowed, right? You can't invest money and get an interest, right? So that is why there is Al-Hal investment. Al-Hal is the opposite of Aram. Aram is not permitted. Al-Hal is permissible. So there are some investments that are permissible. One of them is this Lotus Al-Hal. Lotus Al-Hal is currently trading at 33 naira 60 kobo. That's the ETF. And then we have New Gold Debenture that is currently trading at 40,000 naira per unit. We have Vertiva 30, Vertiva Banking, and several of them. So there are several ETFs that specifically focus on commodities. I said that ETFs can invest into different asset classes, one of which is commodities. So I really want to spend a bit of time on commodities investing because I see that there are a lot of opportunities that people can take advantage of within the commodity space in Nigeria because it's still a very green area, right? Not a lot of people are involved in it at the moment. So investing in commodities offers a unique opportunity for investors to participate in Nigeria's burgeoning food industry. Commodities involves a wide range of products, agricultural goods, energy products, metals, and a lot of them. So why should you invest in commodities to start with? The first reason is diversification. I've said it 1,001 times that within the investment framework, you should never put your eggs in one basket. You should spread it so that because you don't know which one will go well and which one will not go well. So diversification. Another one is inflation hedge. So the good thing with commodities is that a lot of times it can help you hedge against inflation. If the price of food is increasing and you are a maize farmer, you're also going to increase the price of maize. So it's a hedge against inflation. Unlike other kind of investment that don't allow you hedge against inflation, commodities can also allow you hedge against inflation. The other one is economic growth. Investing in commodities supports the agricultural sector, which is critical to the Nigerian economy. You talk about food security, food sustainability, and all of those things. And the last one is global demand. Many Nigerian commodities are in high demand globally. For example, our cocoa is sought after everywhere in the world for chocolate, right? Cashew nut as well. It's very popular. Another one is sesame seeds, ginger. All those agricultural products are very sourced. They are very needed all over the world. So what are the types of commodities that you can think about? So now I want to delve into this more. I want to just explain this further. What are some of the commodities that you can think about? I've divided, for the purpose of this discussion, I've divided commodities into 4 different types. The first one is what I refer to as agricultural commodities. Examples of those ones are cocoa, cashew nut, palm oil, sesame seeds, maize, wheat, sorghum, rice, cassava, ginger, soybeans, and the rest of them. So you can categorize all of those under agricultural commodities. They are essentially a mix of food, staple products, and crops, right? Something that we can eat. The next one are the ones that I refer to as energy commodities or energy products. These are more like enablers. They enable you to do something. For instance, now, crude oil enables us to produce petrol. Petrol is an enabler of other industries. So by the time we have petrol, we can now use it to power our refrigerator, power our industries and start producing other things that we want to produce. So energy products are enablers of the economy. Then the other part is precious metals. Examples of precious metals are gold. And when you're investing in gold, you're talking about whether gold bars, gold coins, or gold jewelry. And silver as well. Silver, which is used in different industries, including electronics and for jewelry. The last part is the industrial metals, aluminum and copper, right? So these are the 4 commodities that you can think about. This is why I'm taking this class last, is to just leave you with something to start thinking about and start making notes about and further research. It's okay. The opportunities in these things. what can I do? What is the low-hanging fruit for me? That is why I've included this. The last part is livestock farming. I said, is it 4 now or 5? Actually 5. Agricultural commodities, energy commodities, precious metals, industrial, and then livestock farming. This should actually be number 5. Livestock farming involves, of course, breeding and raising animals for various purposes, including for meat, for dairy, for wool, and other animal products. Example of other animal products could even be leather, right? So some of us need to start investing in the leather good industry. I don't know whether you saw a challenge on TikTok where one guy came and said, I've been seeing his shoes for a while. I've been seeing his post on shoes for a while. But I just like the fact that he's very bold he likes making bold statements. He made a very nice pair of shoes, and then brought it on TikTok and said, if anyone can recreate these shoes, he started by saying, I am the best shoemaker in Nigeria. If anyone, this is what I've made this shoe. If anyone can come out and recreate this exact sole, I'm going to give the person 100,000. It's a challenge. And then a lot of shoemakers started coming out, One particularly, that video now has probably gotten over 500,000 views, right, on TikTok. The guy now came out and challenged him and said, you claim to be the best. You are a disgrace, of course, used a bit of insultive words, which is not my style. I wouldn't have gone with that approach, right? I would have just created what I needed to create and just set the record straight. So what he was essentially saying is, you're not the best in Nigeria. You're a disgrace. If this is the quality of shoes that you're making, for international audience to now see and now judge that if you are the best and this is the mistakes that we can find in your production, then it means you are rubbing off on the rest of us. So the guy created his own version of that shoe, I believe, and it was much more better than what the person who brought out the challenge created in terms of all the mistakes. It started by identifying all the mistakes in the shoes, in terms of the laces, the placing of the leathers, the this, the that. So that's just, and I've been seeing a lot of creation in that. So, okay, this is an industry with great potential as well that people can think about investing into. For some of you that may be abroad, or you are thinking of what can I invest into? What kind of business can I do? These are opportunities, just partnering with people. You don't have to, we're in that space right now where you want to go into leather goods. You necessarily don't have to go and learn how to make leather. That's old fashioned. Right now, what you just need is entrepreneurial skill, which is just bringing people together, to start up this thing. People that have the knowledge and the expertise to start up this thing. You can look at someone that's already making the product and say, what if I have a larger platform for retail? Can you start making the shoes and then I start retailing, right? So these are opportunities. I just wanted to quickly say that livestock farming. Under livestock farming, we have cattle farming, which is cows, sheep that we raise basically for beef, right? So think about having your own space where you raise these cows by yourself, or you also partner with people to do it. Poultry farming as well, goat farming, sheep farming, pig farming, fish farming, and aquaculture generally, and all of that. So now let's talk about how do you invest in commodities? 2 ways. The first one is what I call directly. You can invest into commodities directly by yourself, and you can do it indirectly. Directly is for those who have time. You have time on your hands. You're really not doing anything for now, or what you have is a remote job. You have the resources. You want to try out new things. For instance, now when I started doing a lot of research on commodities, I've decided to start with crop farming. I have 1 acre of land somewhere in Ogun State. That's 1 acre is 6 plots of land. I just thought, okay, why not convert this? First off, I'm not about profitability, because this is going to be my first time of actually doing that kind of investment. I am not concerned about profitability. For me, I already have the land, right? I'm just going to start with what I know, that even if nothing comes out of it, I want to learn much more than the theoretical aspect I already understand. Because a lot of times it's easier for us to reel out theories about different business. Someone can sit in his office in Banana Island or in Lekki and Ikoyi, where you have AC blowing your head, and you begin to design strategy to win the market in Boronu or to win the market in Oshogo, when you've not gone there physically to stay on ground and see what is happening, right? So practice is how you become perfect. Practice is how you become an expert. It's not really about just talking and talking and talking. So, which is why I've also decided to take that step. Let me start with crop farming. I've identified some crops I'm going to be planting, of course, that is common in that locality, because you also need to understand that there are some crops that cannot grow in some areas in Nigeria, right? So you need to understand that. So if you want to start commodities by yourself directly, what are the insights that you need to understand? The first one is this is very important. This number one, consider joining the associations in each of these segments. Let's say you want to start, you want to go into cashew nuts. There is already, the way all these industries work, all these segments work, is like a cabal. There are a set of people that are more like associations that make that industry or that segment solid. You need to be part of them, because if you want to go and just start on your own and all of that, you'll just be frustrated, because there are a lot of things that you may not know. For instance, now you may not know, how do I harvest my product and export? I want to start exporting ginger. I want to start exporting sesame seed because I've heard that they need it in Netherlands. So how do you do that? It's not something you just jump to go and do. So all these associations are the ones that would guide you in the right direction. They already have an existing structure. For instance, they have warehousing structure where if you want to farm maize, the structure that exists in that space is such that you buy maize during a season, you will dry it and store till when the season of maize has passed, so that you can sell at higher price. So how do you get storage if you are not part of this? So some of these associations already have large storage for all their members. You just pay a little sum of money and then they can allow you to store your products. So it's very important. They can also help you with insights on where and how to sell locally and internationally. I already said that before. So direct farming. Don't forget I said, how do you start commodities if you are interested in that space? I said the first one is directly. So you can do it through direct farming. You actually go into all of these segments yourself. You want to start agricultural products like what I'm doing right now. I already have a land. I didn't have to buy. I already have it there, right? I'm just going to go and look for the seeds to plant. I'll get farmers to help me plant it, because I'm not a farmer, but of course I'm willing to learn. I'll be on ground. I'll find a time. I'll be on ground when they plant it. Of course, I'll now have like a farm manager, someone that will be in charge, that understand the terrain, that understand that environment, responsible for the security, because you also do not plant and go away and just expect that you come back during harvest season to come and harvest. You'll be joking. So all of these things are really strategies that needs to be put in place, right? So if you want to do all of these things, the next approach, which a lot of these big companies like Dangote, like Boa, Farm Mills, and the rest of them, they use contract farming. Just listen, they enter into partnerships with farmers, right? Farmers that are already doing their thing, they will now they can provide them with seeds. Let me give you an example. There was a time when Nigeria farmers cannot give them that quantity. Nigeria farmers can make about 25%. So they always need to import chicken that they will fry for their chicken and chips and their jollof rice on a daily basis. So what are the strategies that they put in place? The first one is they now identify some farmers across the country, people that have a reasonable level of capacity, and they started investing into them. They invest into them by way of finance, giving them money to actually enlarge their capacity. The other one is giving them seeds. For some of you that are concerns with chips in Nigeria, chicken and chips, for instance, you will see that if you buy, which one do they use to make French fries now? Is it Irish or sweet potato? I need people to help me. Just help me. Which one? I want to make chips now. Which is Irish or sweet potato? Someone help me. I've forgotten. Just put it in the comment box. I'm waiting. Irish potatoes. Thank you. So if I want to make if you buy Irish potatoes from our market and you cut it and you use it to make chips, you will see that it's not always crispy. It's always very soft. It means the breed of the potatoes that we have in Nigeria is not the breed that is required to make that kind of strong, chips. This was some of the findings of Chicken Republic then. And I said, okay, how can we improve this? Rather than just importing, can we also start giving seedlings or seeds to farmers so that they can get, when they plant the seed, that they can now start getting this breed of potatoes that we need for our production. So in a way, I'm helping you to help myself. That is contract farming. And those are the approaches if you were thinking of direct farming. The other one is indirect method. This is for those that are career professionals, or you have your business and you really don't have time to be doing agriculture. I'm big on this as well. I have some investment using this indirect method into commodities. The first one is you can buy shares of companies that deal in commodities. Examples of companies like that are Okomo Oil Palm. It's listed in the Nigerian Stock Exchange. If you buy their shares, what you are doing is you are investing indirectly into commodities. The other one is Presco. The other one is Total. The next indirect option is to invest in commodity exchange traded fund, commodities ETF. I told us that ETF can invest into commodities or any other kind of assets. So examples of commodities ETF are Absa New Gold or Nigerian Exchange ETF. So if you go on your app right now, you will see these ETFs that they are publicly traded. If you invest into them, what you are doing is you are indirectly investing into commodities. The next one is investing through commodities markets like FX, LCFE, and NCX. So you can also invest into commodities through this market. Let me show you how this works. If I want to invest in rice or paddy rice through LCFE, LCFE is Lagos Commodities and Future Exchange. That market is in Lagos. It's like every other, it's not like open market, it's a regulated market. Right? If I want to invest in rice through them, what I would do is I look at it, I understand the season when rice is cheap and the season when it's always expensive. Example of seasons when rice is expensive is December period, because a lot of people will buy rice for Christmas. A lot of people do give away of bags of rice. A lot of companies buy rice to give their staff. A lot of NGOs buy rice to give to the poor during that season. Do you know what smart people do? In January, someone that wants to invest into rice as a commodity. In January, they go to the market. All these commodities market already have farmers that produce all these commodities, all these agricultural products. The farmers, they have bucket of farmers across the country. The farmers sell through them, and you are now the buyer. So you can say, I want to buy 1,000 bags of rice through LCFE. I will buy the rice, I will store it, and when it's December period, I will start to sell. So that's the way commodities market work. They serve as a link between buyers and sellers. Not only that, let's say I bought my 1,000 bags of rice through LCFE. I can buy it and list it on their platform there. To help you understand that, to help you understand how that works, you know that as a retailer, let's say what I sell is an iPhone. I sell different iPhones in my store. I can approach Jumia as an e-commerce platform and list my products on Jumia for any buyers that visit Jumia to see what I have to offer, and they can buy and I can ship. That same way, commodities market is the Jumia of the commodities industry. So I can buy the rice. I have the rice. In fact, I bought it from that platform as well. I bought it from LCFE. They bought it from farmers. I bought it from them. I bought the 1,000 bags of rice. I put it in a storage, but I've listed it on their platforms. So I bought it from them. I'm keeping it. I can keep it for 3 months. And let's say I bought it at 50,000 naira per bag. I can list it and say, I want to sell it at 52,000 naira per bag. I'll list on their platforms there. And when anyone visits their platform that wants to buy, maybe they don't have any more at that point in time. But I am a customer. I have. The person can buy through them from me at a profit to them, of course. So it works exactly like e-commerce, but just think about it, e-commerce for commodities, right? So you can invest in commodities indirectly through the commodities market. And the last one is through fund managers. You know that I took you guys through investing in fixed income instruments, where I talked about money market mutual funds, treasury bill, and all of those things. I said a fund manager, mutual fund essentially is you giving your money to a fund manager to invest on your behalf, right? The same way, there are some fund managers, there are some funds right now that invest solely into commodities, right? And the catch is such that you are able to diversify your portfolio if you invest in that fund. So you give them the money. They are not concerned on what they invest into, on the kind of commodities. It's not like if they tell you that this fund is going to invest into crop products like maize and all of those things. It's not that they'll give you a cup of maize or they'll give you a bucket of maize. No, you have given them your money. They are the ones that will go and do all the buying and trading and all of those things. Yours is at the end of the investment, you'll get the yield, the investment that they promise you that you would get. You'll get it at the end of that investment. So those are the 4 indirect methods of investing into commodities. So these are the commodities markets in Nigeria. For someone that wants to start, I said, number 3 here, you can invest through commodities market. So these are the commodities markets in Nigeria. FX in Abuja does active trade in spots for agricultural products like maize, paddy, rice, sorghum, right? As at the time that I did this slide, FX was yet to commence trading on metals and energy products. I said that, again, let me go back. I said that these are the type of commodities: agricultural products, energy products, precious metals, industrial metals, and livestock, right? So FX here does agricultural products, but doesn't do metals and energy products, as at the time that I did this slide. The next one is NCX, which is Nigerian Commodities Exchange, right? Also in Abuja. It started operations. It is now being recapitalized by CBN with 50 billion to revive its activities. If you want to find out what is the status of that as further study for you, you want to find out what is the status of this investment that CBN wants to do in NCX. Then the last commodity market is Lagos Commodities and Future Exchange. This actually deals in a long list of highly diversified asset classes, including agricultural products like paddy, rice, maize, sorghum, soybean, cocoa, energy products like crude oil. LCFE actually also does gold. You can buy gold from LCFE. So if you are someone that wants to invest in gold as a commodity, you can either invest in gold bars, gold coins, or gold jewelry. So where do you get gold bars in Nigeria? And you are sure that you are buying the original, because that's the challenge. For some people that can't travel out, for some people that can travel out, maybe it's easier to get original things. You go to Dubai and maybe the Dubai gold market, the exact places to go to, how to check for original gold, right? But in Nigeria, where is the low-hanging fruit, the easiest place to buy gold as an investor, especially gold bars and gold coins? It's for you to go to Lagos Commodity and Future Exchange in Lagos. So that is the end of commodities. The next one is REIT, Real Estate Investment Trust. REIT is like mutual funds and ETF. The only difference is such that REIT invest into real estate. It puts funds together from people and invest into real estate. So within a typical REIT portfolio, these are the properties that you are likely to find. We have apartment complexes, data centers, health facilities, hotels, infrastructures in the form of fiber cable, cell towers, and energy pipelines, office buildings, retail centers, self-storage, and so on and so forth. So those are the properties that you're likely to find within the portfolio of a REIT. So when they say real estate is not limited to building land alone. Do you know that if you have a land, say in Abia State or any of the states in Nigeria, and MTN approaches you to put their MTN masts within your compound, that MTN mast that you see qualifies as real estate because it's an asset, right? And it's an asset like building that doesn't go out, it can be there for the next 50 or 100 years, right? You may make more money from that property than someone that has built house on his property, just because MTN, well, let me qualify to help us understand what is happening right now. A lot of these companies now, a lot of these telcos, they no longer manage these masts thing and all of those things by themselves. There are companies that their own expertise is to manage masts and then do co-location. So what does co-location mean? That's another word that you need to get familiarized with if you want to invest within the real estate space. So co-location means that this mast, when you see a mast in, say, a particular location, different telecoms company can use a single mast. It also helps them to cut costs. Instead of MTN having its own mast, Etisalat is on 9mobile, or the other internet companies like what are these internet companies right now? I've gotten a lot of them. The internet companies that we use, instead of them having their own individual masts, they can easily come together under like an ATC. ATC is one of the prominent companies that manage these towers for them. It's called American Towers Company, right? They can come together under American Tower, and then American Tower gets one mast, and through their engineers, they're able to locate different telecoms company on a single mast. So I just explained that to let you know that real estate goes beyond just having building alone. Another insight is building warehouses. I just talked about commodities investing right now. So when you buy the 100 bags of rice, or people buy bags of rice from all these commodities market, they need storage. Your own business can only be, I want to be providing storage for commodity traders. That's the only business you're going to be doing. And that alone gives you billions of naira because they are charging per bag that is stored in that space, right? So this is how to think real estate from an investment point of view. As an investor, you're not just thinking about building your house so that you can live in. And I hope that you already know by now that when you build your own house and you live in it, it is not an asset, it's a liability. So an asset, the way I define an asset for us at the beginning of this course is that an asset has two features. The first one is it has cash flow. The second one is it has prospect of capital gain. So if anything does not have those two features, it is not an asset in its full extent or to its full extent. So cash flow meaning that it must be giving you money on maybe annual or monthly or yearly basis. At least money must be coming from that asset. The second thing is you have the prospect that the price will increase in the future. So if it is just one, a lot of people, you buy a land right now for 10 million and you just leave the land there for the next 10 years because you are hoping that the land will increase to 50 million in 10 years. That's the challenge I have with my own personal reservation with land banking. I don't think land banking, especially if you are doing it long term, I don't think it's a good investment like that. So you buy a land, 5 million naira, and you wait for the next 10 years to sell it for 30 million. What happens within those 10 years? They're just tying down money. That money would have been converted or used for another thing to make more money. So what is the better approach for people that want to do land banking? If I buy a piece of land, instead of just leaving it dormant, can I give it to developers? I don't have the money to develop the land right now. I can lease it. That's why leasing exists within the real estate space. You are allowed to lease your land. I can lease it to an event center, especially if it's in a conspicuous, a good location where there is traffic. And what qualifies a location as a good location is economic activities. So if there are banks, airports, a lot of companies in that area. So those are the pointers to the land that you should buy. If you want to buy any land, the first thing you want to start thinking about is what is the economic activity that is likely to come based on the plan of the government. Government is a major driver of economic development in any country, right? So no matter what we say, it's still government that will develop the economy. They can do it in partnership with individuals. That's why we have public-private partnership, right? But the bulk of the work lies with the government through policies. So you need to understand what is the policy of government. So for people that are smart right now, you've seen that government, they said they want to make a road. They call it Calabar something, Lagos Calabar Coastal Road. The one that they said they were pulling down some part of the landmark beach for. They've started that road right now. Do you know that a lot of people are already going to that road to buy lands and set up because if there is a major road that passes through the area that the road passes through, because like a major road that will connect the southwest to the other parts of Nigeria. So that's a big deal. So some of you probably heard the news that Lagos has now finally signed the MOU for the development of the Lekki Airport. That kind of news is what real estate thrives on. So they start putting it out right now that an airport is coming to that Lekki axis. The price of land in Ibejuleki and Ekpe will start skyrocketing because of that. So this is how to think about real estate. It could just be what you are interested in building is warehouses. I know if I want to build a property, I just want to buy a land and keep it. Don't just buy the land and keep it. Think of JVs. JVs, joint venture. You can enter into joint ventures with developers. They just develop it. Maybe they put like 4 units of 3-bedroom flats on your land. They'll give you one. You can rent that out. They rent out a 3. They collect the money for X number of years. But the challenge, a lot of us, this chop alone mentality is what is keeping Africa behind. We need to kill that chop alone mentality. You want to succeed, but you want to be the only one that will succeed. You want to run the business. You want to be the only one that would fund the business so that you can be the all-in-all, the alpha and omega of the business. You don't want to share any part of the business with anyone. Someone sent me a proposal because I review proposals from time to time. She was trying to raise funds for her business, and the total fund she required at this phase, because she still had idea phase, she has not done anything. I think she said she needed about 30 million, okay, in dollars, but conversion to Nigerian money became like 30 million. 30 million, how much of your own money do you have? Zero. How much of your own money have you put into this business? Zero. How much of your family and friends' money have you put into this business? Zero. Okay, so for someone that gives you this 30 million, how much are you willing to give in terms of equity to the person? 3%. 3% for a business that has zero revenue. How people think, I don't understand. You can have your vision, your dream. It is your vision, it's not my vision. Do you understand? So for me to believe in your vision, I need to see numbers. I need to see Everybody listens to one station, all of us. It's called WIFM. What's in it for me? So I'm looking at it. You tell me to come and give you 30 million, and all I'm going to be getting is 3% of the business. And this is the business that doesn't have any revenue, that's just starting, that's not, no one customer is still at idea phase. No, that's high risk. If you want to entice an investor with that kind of thing, you must really to give maybe like 40% or 50% of the business. You are talking. And this is how owners of business think. If you watch Sharks, Sharks is the American version. The Nigerian version is called Lion's Den. If you watch Lion's Den, these are things that you learn from, because these are professionals in fundraising and in venture capital and private equity. And you see how they think, right? You cannot want to. So now when you tell me that 3%, 30 million equals 3%, it means you're telling me that the market cap or the market value of that business is if you do the mathematics, let's say you're giving me, let's take it to 10%. If you're giving me 10% and you're saying it means that business is worth 300 million if it is 10%. For a business that has not done anything, idea is not worth nothing. Anybody can have idea. Anybody can sit down and design PowerPoint slides. So we need to understand all of this if we are going to go anywhere where investment or scaling our businesses or becoming successful generally is concerned. So these are properties in a REIT. In Nigeria, these are some of the REIT that you can invest into and their prices. As at the last time that I did this slide, UPDC, Union Homes, SFS. So let me again further explain the concept of REITs. For some of you that want to start investing in properties, but you cannot afford to buy your own land, maybe you don't even have the cheapest land you are seeing is 5 million or 2 million, 3 million, you don't have it. What is the low-hanging fruit? You can start by investing in REITs. So these are structured company, not Shea and Sons real estate. There are a lot of Shea and Sons real estate in town right now. They'll just be raising money from people, and a lot of them fraud everywhere. So you have to be very careful. Real estate is one of the greatest scams right now in Nigeria. So you have to exercise care if you want to invest in real estate. So this is why REITs is like the low-hanging fruit, because it's regulated, heavily regulated. It's more like you are buying shares. It's more like you are doing ETF, but just that ETF is now focused on real estate. So these are the three, I think there are 4 of them, but these are 3 of the companies listed that you can buy units from. The last part of this presentation is REIG. REIG is Real Estate Investment Groups. I like to tell a story anytime I take this class on REIGs. Right? There's this senior friend of mine. This was more than 7 years ago now. He saw a property on the island in Lagos. I think he was driving to work and he saw property for sale on the building. I said, oh, this is a very nice property. He called the number and I think they told him that the price then was 120 or 100 million. But the price, he didn't have that money. He didn't have up to that then 100 million. He looked at it. And this property, because that person was they were pressed to sell it quickly. It's called distress sale, meaning they want to sell it on time. That's why they offered it at 100 million. He knew that property is around, even that time, was around 150 million-ish. Said, okay. He wanted to buy, he didn't have the money. So he only has 40 million. That's all he has. So what he just did was, he has some friends that he knows that also have that investment mentality. So he put a call through across to each of them and just told them about the opportunity, showed them some prospect of that property, some document he has seen and all of that the property is quite genuine. So they all agreed. I think 3 of his friends now agreed to bring 20 million. So he dropped 40, his 3 friends dropped 20. So they were able to buy out the property at 100 million. They kept the property because they were now not pressed to sell. They wanted to buy as an investment. So they bought, they renovated, held it for like 1 year or so. And so by the time they were reselling, they resold at maybe about 180 million. Right? So they made 80 million above what they had sold. So of course, he wanted to return the money to his friends. And they said, no, wait, this looks very good now. If we can make this 80 million or 100 million within a year. Why won't you let us continue this model? Let's start looking for properties that may fall into that category that people want to sell quickly and all of that. That was how they built a model around this real estate investment group. They became a real estate investment group of friends, and they started to buy property this way. He made a lot of money. The guy is now a billionaire now because of this model. I believe that in this age and time, I've said it several times, that we're in the collaboration age where a lot of people will get rich through partnerships with their friends and, trustworthy people. And another thing is, you should also study your friends to know the kind of people they are. If you have friends that once money enters their account, they lose their brain, you already know that those kind of people are going nowhere. You don't bring business transactions to those kind of people. But if you have people that always, they're always willing to learn, willing to share information about the good things that is happening in their finance with you, opportunities, not get rich quick opportunities like they are the ones that's already putting money in MMM and all of those things. You run from all those kind of people. So I'm talking about people that are patient and understand how this investment terrain works. You can come up with a real estate investment group between yourself. And this model is built for profit. You can buy, renovate, sell, or finance properties. Real estate investment groups commonly buy multi-unit properties, sell units to investors, and all of that. So that is how they started this group, but it now metamorphosed into, at some point, you now start, that's the way you start business normally. You start with your own money, but at some point, you see that you cannot go beyond some level if you want to rely on your money alone. That's the way investment works. So you always need investors at some point in your business. So for you, it is always advisable that you've done the business for a while, you understand, you have proof. So if you are coming to an investor to request for funds, especially venture capitals and private equity firms, they want to see proof that you've run the business, you've bootstrapped it, you've grown it to a certain extent before they are comfortable. And you have records to show, not mouth. You have records to show that you've run the business and then it has succeeded. And there are opportunities that you cannot afford to now finance. That's why you need investment. So when the opportunity came for them, they wanted to scale the business, they wanted to do more units across the country, but they couldn't afford to do it with their own resources. So they opened it up as crowdfunding, as a crowdfunding platform where people will now, they get the property, they get all the title documents, and they crowdfund, raise money from people and say that if you invest X amount, you can get 5%, maybe on a monthly basis, or 5% on a quarterly basis, based on what they think would work for them. It's a model that is possible. But for you to run that model, you must have succeeded and done your own work. So what I see a lot of times right now, because I haven't spoken to over 500 small businesses. What I've seen right now is a lot of people just have ideas. They don't want to risk anything. They don't want to use their own money. They're just looking for investor up and down. They claim that they don't have money to spend. If you don't have any money to spend, then you shouldn't be thinking about that kind of business. And all of us, there is a business that we want to do, but you cannot afford to do it right now. So do the one that you can afford to do, raise some money, then start the one that you want to do. So it's more like a means to an end. I want to start real estate. I want to start a proper real estate company, but I cannot afford real estate for now because I'm a school level. I just graduated from school. I don't have a copy to start real estate. And what are the things that there are service-based businesses that you don't need cover to start. Example, laundry. I started laundry business as a 300 level student, and I was making a lot of money. I'll be using my hand to wash clothes, right? So at least start something that you can start right now, that you don't need a lot of resources to start. When you start to be creative about it, and then you can now use that as a stepping stone to what you really want to do. So again, what's the difference between REITs and REITs? Because they sound alike. REITs is not regulated. It's just a group of friends coming together to raise money to do business of real estate. REIT is regulated by SEC, company that has to be listed on the stock exchange, and then they can raise money from members of the public for real estate. That is the end of today's class and the end of this program. If you have any question, feel free to, you can either drop it, I'll read out the questions, I'll answer them. Any questions from each of the modules that you have, feel free to ask them right now. And another thing, by the end of this month, the WhatsApp group will be closed. Let me stop this first.